Hi everybody, my name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach and I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse. So today I want to talk about heart awakening. So we can go through different kinds of awakenings. Spiritual awakening and heart awakening are two of the ones that I have gone through. I started my spiritual awakening in 2018 and I'll describe a little bit about that, but I'll describe the heart awakening too. I didn't even discover till last year that you can actually go through more than one awakening. And it was only when I was out of it, well, I was kind of in it and out of it, that I discovered this, but it was only because I recognised the dark night of the soul. And that was the same as what I went through my spiritual awakening. And currently I'm coming out of, or I'm still in a second heart awakening. My second heart awakening in 8 months. Now, I'll describe that in a minute, but say when we go through awakening of any kind, we tend to, I call it bipolar. I liken it to bipolar because in a heightened state, when you're in top form through spiritual awakening, you're buzzing, you're excited for life, you know that you've got a purpose to follow, and you're manifesting left, right, and center, and you're just really excited. But we have to face the darkness as well. And that's called dark night of the soul. That's the spiritual depression you go through when you're facing your demons, you're facing your past karmas, you're facing your traumas and your wounds. And it's deep. And that's why I liken it to bipolar, because it's like a manic state of depression that is really hard to get out of. And I've suffered from anxiety and depression in the past, but dark night of the soul is torture. It's absolute torture. But this is how I realised that I was going through another awakening last year, and how I was going through another awakening this week. Now, this week, I had a triple whammy of energy. It was a 10-year anniversary from one of my biggest traumas, so I had to reface that to release it and heal, and that was tough because I was avoiding refacing that. But on top of that, there was the solar storms. So my emotions were heightened as well. My anger was heightened as well. And I put all of everything that I went through last week down to that. But we were coming out of that, and I was still going through these heavy emotions and this severe pain in my chest. And the pain, and this is the same pain I got last October, because it's heartbreak. It was my heart breaking open. And that's why I kind of went, shit, man, I'm going through another awakening. Because I didn't actually realise last year when I went through it, I recognised I was in dark night of the soul, because I was like, when you're in dark night of the soul, I'm going to do another video on that. It's like you can't get out of it. And I'm a conscious healer, so I know when I have my down days that it's a purge and that I will be better afterwards. I know this, and I'm grateful for those. It's hard going through them, but I'm grateful for those moments because I know that what is coming is better. Because I've noticed over the last year, because my heart now is my biggest block and has been for a while, but because of the stuff I went through, I closed my heart off more than I'd ever closed it before. And that's why I went through a heart awakening last year, and why I'm going through one now. And I didn't know I was in it until I recognized the dark night of the soul. And when you're in dark night of the soul, it's hard to see that light. And as I said, I'm a conscious healer, so I usually always kind of go, this is for this, and this is the higher purpose, and I know this is to let more in. I'm releasing, making room for better to come in. But when you're in the depths of that depression, everything comes up. And when you're in a heart awakening, especially, your heart is breaking. And that's what it is. Your heart has to break open fully for you to heal it, for you to face all that wound, for you to release all that pain, so that you can make your heart whole again and to keep your heart open. And I have noticed over the last year that whenever I have my purges, or I close up again and close my heart, I open bigger every time. So it is actually beautiful, because every time I've opened again, I see more of my beauty, more of my heart, more of my love. So I know it's always worth it. But it's hard to see that when you're in the darkest depths of that pain, because that's what it is. Your heart is literally breaking. the pain in your chest, and anyone who's gone through heartache knows the pain that you get in your heart when your heart is breaking. And that's how I knew last year and this year that I was going through a heart awakening, because I've discovered that your heart has to break open to fully open again, because it's been so closed. And that's the way I was. It was so tightly closed. You need to get a hammer at those doors to break them open so that you can release that pain. And because I had to reface the trauma I went through 10 years ago, I was very raw this week. Because of the solar flares and the solar storms, I was raw anyway. So I thought everything was down to that. I was like, I'm facing that. I'm going through this solar flare energy. This is what's happening. And I was grand. I was like, I'll get out of it. But it was weird though, and that's why I put it down to the solar flares, because, even though I was facing that trauma, it was like the emotions were, it was like they were just so uncontrollable. Like normally I'm aware of my feelings, my triggers, and I'm in control of them. But I could not control the pain and the emotions that I went through last week. Like it was constant. Like I just couldn't stop crying. And as I said, I was dealing with that trauma, and I had the solar flare energy. So I put it down to that. I was like, grand, it'll be over soon. I'll be fine. But this went on until yesterday. And you see, this is the thing. When I've been healing over the last year, and spiritual awakening was hard, because when you're in it, it's bipolar. But I heal so much that if I have these days of purging, they're brief. Over the last year or so, they're brief. You go through them, they'll be dark, and then you come out of it and you're back to normal, and you've got your good days more so than your bad days. But when you're in the deepest depths of that dark night of the soul and that heart awakening, you get out of it for a minute and you're like, oh, thank God it's over. And then you're back in it straight away. And then you're out of it again, and then you're back in it, and then you're out of it, and you're back in it. And that's why I got so confused this week, because, I was like, grand, it's over now. The solar flares are over. Solar storms are over. I'm grand. I'm coming out of it. I feel good again. And then bang, I was back in it. And I was like, what the heck is going on here? Like, do you know what I mean? I was like, this isn't normal. This isn't just external energy. This isn't just the trauma I was going through. And then yesterday, my heart burst with pain. It was absolute torture, and I could feel it. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm going through another heart awakening. And it's fucking tough, man. It's really tough. And when I realized that, I'm better since, and I'm guiding myself out of it, so I do feel a lot better than I did. But before I realized I was going through a heart awakening, I thought I was relapsing big time. Because when you're in it, everything is open. Your heart, it's like opening a wound again. Your heart is sitting there raw, showing you every single pain you've ever been through. And that's what it was. It was like everything came up. All my codependency, all my past hurts, every little pain, and then all my fears and lack of self-worth, my lack of being enough, all of it came up. And the fears around moving forward in my life, everything just was like a big avalanche on top of me. I was just like, what the hell is going on here? I'm so confused. Why am I feeling this way? Because I've come so far, and I've been so high vibe lately. For me to go down this far again, I was like, there's something not right here, because I'm strong, and I can heal these traumas when they come up. I can go through these energies of the solar flares. I can do this. I have the strength to do this. But when you're going through any kind of awakening, you lose that faith in yourself. You lose that hope. You lose the light that's at the end of the tunnel. You kind of just lose all faith in everything. And I even said, this broke my heart. And I don't want to get emotional. I know I still have residual emotions from this heart awakening. I'm not fully out of it. Because even last night now, I felt so good. My mind was open. My heart was open. I felt really good again. And I was like, oh, thank God it's over. I'm coming back to myself. This was all for a higher purpose. And then bang, this morning I woke up and my heart felt so heavy again. Like somebody was squeezing it. Do you know, yesterday it felt like it was breaking open, but today it just feels heavy. It feels just, it's like you can constantly just feel it. And I even, this breaks my heart to say this because I love the universe, I love my angels, I love my guides. And I trust them. And I've begun to trust myself. But I even questioned, were they playing this massive joke on me because I was just so bad, like, you know, it was really, really intense. And it breaks my heart to distrust my biggest supporter, which is the universe, and ask them, like, are you really taking the piss out of me here? Because when I was in the depths of it, it was so hard to see anything else. And it was just like, I can't move forward. And that's the way it feels when you're in that deep, dark depression, that deep, dark night of the soul. You lose all that faith in yourself, in the universe, in your future, in everything. And it's like you cannot get out of it. And, you know, like, no matter how conscious you are of your healing journey, and no matter how strong you've become, when you go through an awakening, it really fucks you up. Like, it really intensely fucks you up. And, like, you know, I had to be sitting in that pain, and I'm like, Angela, you know that you can do this. You know you have strength. You know you're worthy. And then you just straight away, you're like, no, but this, that, the other, you know, all the pain. Like, it's like self-sabotage. I went through self-sabotage last week as well because of this. And I thought it was self-sabotage. I don't know what it was. I'm so confused because it was the trauma of 10 years ago. It was the solar storms. I was going through self-sabotage thoughts. And then I came to realize it's all connected. It is all connected. It's all after happening this week for a reason. So that I can actually burst my heart completely open, heal those last bit of wounds, release them once and for all, and open my heart fully to myself and to this world. But I didn't know. When you don't realize you're going through it, you don't realize till afterwards. So when you're in it, you get so upset. You get it's just emotionally drained. Like, I couldn't face anything. I couldn't do anything. And, like, you know, as I said, I was constantly crying. And I still have emotions in me that I need to release. Like, and, you know I'm out the other side, but I'm still in it a little bit because, you know, as I said, like, you know, you'll go through those bipolars. You'll be like, yes, I'm out of it. Thank God, I feel good again. But then you're back in it straight away. And as I said, last night I was feeling good again. My mind, my body, my soul was open. And, like, then this morning I just felt that heaviness in my heart again. Now, I know I've gone through the deepest part of it because that was the heartache that I felt. But, and, like, last night then I felt so open. And, like, that's the thing. When you open your heart, you open your mind and you open yourself to all the possibilities that are there. You're an instant manifester. Everything comes to you easily, and that's what it is. And, like, last night I was having great downloads. I was having I'm on high form. I was really feeling good. And then this morning again, my heart just felt so heavy and painful. And it's literally only yesterday and today that I actually realised I'm going through another heart awakening, because it's the same as what I went through last year, and it's similar to a normal spiritual awakening. The dark night of the soul is the same kind of energy, same kind of pain. But when it comes to, as I said, heart awakening, you know it's your heart because the pain is here, it's localised, you can feel your heart breaking. And, like, you know, it's a long time since I've had heartache, like, you know, so I recognised it, because, you know, you don't have it that often. But I recognised it as my heart was breaking, and that's it. Your heart breaks open, and it's a raw wound on a plate showing you everything that you've ever gone through. And it just triggers everything. It triggers all that pain, all that emotion, all that insecurity, all that lack of self-worth. And it frightens me, because when I don't know I'm going through that until after, I'm like, am I going backwards? Am I after losing myself again? Am I after completely just relapsing here? You know, and I don't want to go backwards. And I know I have the strength to go back forward. But when you're in it, you find it so hard to see that light. You really do. It's not nice feeling. It's really tough. And, like, as I said, I'm coming out of it. And so I am at the better side of it. But my God, all I want to do is cry. That's all I feel like doing. And I believe crying is healthy. I think crying is a great way to release that pain, to release those emotions, and to release that hurt. So, like, you know, Like later on now today, I'm going to just have another self-care day and get rid of all these emotions. I'm going to watch those movies that make me cry so that I can release. Because, you know, I cry at a movie anyway. But when I have internal struggles or internal stuff that I need to heal, you know, where I cry at that movie a little bit before, I end up crying, you know, Niagara Falls kind of energy, you know, because of the stuff that's inside me. So it is actually good to trigger yourself to release that pain and release that emotions if you're going through it. You know, I know it sounds counterproductive in a sense that you're causing yourself to cry or you're causing yourself to feel more upset. But I find for myself anyway, I need to get this out. Like, you know, I keep tearing up here because there's still stuck trauma within me. And I'm still healing this. You know, I'm not out of it yet, because when you're in it as well, like, all of that shit comes into your mind. Just like, you kind of go, I'm never opening my heart again. I'm never letting anyone in again. I'm not doing this again. I'm not opening to this world again. I'm not doing it because it's too fucking painful. And that's the way it is when you're going through a heart awakening. You literally want to just close that back up, and you never, ever, ever, ever want to open it again. And, you know, the heart awakening has nothing really to do with anything external. It's all internal. And it's all beneficial because the whole process is to open your heart again. You know, you're breaking open your heart. You're releasing all that pain. You're releasing all that trauma. And that's what it is. The same with spiritual awakening. You're releasing all that stuck, bottled up dis-ease in your body, that stagnant, that block. You know, and as I said, my biggest block is my heart chakra. Especially after the last few years, when you go through awakenings of any kind, you're going to have to walk away from family members and friends and stuff like that, because you're no longer in alignment with them and you're changing into your true version. So you have to let go of a lot of things from your past. And that was the reason I closed my heart so fully. You know, I've always had a pretty closed heart. I was able to give love, but I was finding it very hard to receive love. But last year, I just closed up completely. And my heart awakening last year was to try and open that up again. But because I closed so completely, it only opened me up a little bit. And don't get me wrong now, that was about 8 months ago. Within the last 6 months, I'm becoming more confident and my heart is bursting wide open, wider open than it's ever been. And that's the beauty of it. When it does close up, it opens wider next time. It might close again, but it opens wider than the last time. And every time it opens wider and wider. But when you're in the depths of it, all you want to do is stay closed. And that's the feeling I got this week. And all I wanted to do was just go back into my box. I just wanted to go back into that box, and I wanted never, ever to come back out of it. Because all of my emotions from the last 36 years of my life came flooding back in. All of my traumas came flooding back in because that wound was raw open in front of me for me to face it, to heal it and release it. Now, don't get me wrong, I am grateful for this now, because I know when we go through things like this, it is the universe, it's like decluttering. It's the universe making room for bigger, better, abundant love and fulfilling life to come into you. You know, love in all areas, whether that be abundance, opportunities, romantic or friendships or whatever it is. This is what this is all about, is to allow more into your life, to get rid of all that pain, that trauma, that toxicity from your past, to make you more whole within yourself, to make you love yourself more. And I do unconditionally love myself, but when I'm in that darkness, that deep depths of that pain, I just don't want to open again. You're like, I never, ever, ever, ever want to go through pain again. And that's the thing, because of the pain you went through, you keep telling yourself, I went through this pain because I opened my heart. And you kind of say to yourself, would it not be easier to stay closed and not open your heart again? And that's the way I was the last few days, was like, literally, let's go back in my box. Let's go back in this box and stay closed. Sorry now, I don't mean to be getting so emotional in this video, but this is what heart awakening or any kind of awakening does to you. It really makes you raw. And I want to share this because some people don't know they're going through an awakening until after, or even some people don't even know they're going through it and it's all unconscious. So this is why I'm sharing the pain I've been going through, is because if you're going through anything similar, know that it is just temporary. Know that it is to break your heart fully open. Know that it is to let more abundance and love into your life, and trust it, and that's the hardest part when you're in it, is trusting that you can open again. And that's the biggest fear you have. You're kind of like, I'm after being faced here with all my demons, all my traumas from the past, all the things I thought I healed, which you did heal, but there's some residues left. And you're kind of going, if I went through all of that from opening my heart a little bit in the past, would it not be easier never to open again so as not to cause more pain? And that's the kind of questions we have when we go through a heart awakening. It's like, is it not just easier to stay in my box? Is it not just easier to stay closed and to keep my heart closed? But I know when I come out of these darknesses, I know when I come out of this pain, I am a better person because of it. My heart is more full. My heart is more open. And I am more giving as well as more receiving. And I know that I'm my manifestation comes bigger. My intuition, like even yesterday, and I know yesterday was just a bit of respite, but like the elation I had yesterday was a sign of what's to come. And like I was getting downloads after downloads. My intuition was on fire, because when my heart is closed as well, I don't trust in my spiritual abilities, so they're quieter, and I don't believe I'm good enough. So when my heart is open, I can see stuff way before it happens. I can feel stuff. I can, I'm getting downloads for videos constantly. Whereas a few weeks ago, it was like I was lucky to get the 5 or the 6 or the 7 for the week, and they'd come in dribs and drabs. I have about 30 to 40 videos now that I have prepared, that I'm ready to prepare, and I know there's more in me. Like, do you know what I mean? So I know that when my heart opens, my mind opens, everything opens for me, and my life opens, and I become an instant manifester. And I know that's coming, and yesterday was a sign of that. So that pushes you through, and it makes you say, okay, you might be scared to get hurt again, but the abundance that flows into your life when you have your heart open is magical. It is amazing. So it does make these awakenings worth it. It does make that pain worth it. It does make that heartache worth it. So, I'm better now. I'm out the better side of it. I obviously still have a little bit to work on, which is fair enough. But it is worth it. And I know, as I said, I'm still very emotional today, as you can see, but I'm better because of it already. And I know when I'm fully out of it, things are just going to start flowing a lot more easier, because I don't want to be closed. When you're closed, you kind of free your opening again. And you're like, I'm never opening again. I'm staying here. I'm not doing this. I'm not letting anyone in. I'm not letting the world in. It's easier to stay in my box. But when you get out and you're looking back at what it's like when you're closed, you're kind of going, no, look, it's worth the risk. It is worth the risk, because being in a closed heart space, it's lonely. It's hard. It is harder. Like when you're in it and you're afraid to get out of it, yeah, fair enough. You just kind of want to close into your box. But when you come out of it and you're looking back, you kind of go, no, I don't want to be in that energy. I don't want to be closed off. I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to be hurting. I want to feel my heart open. I want this abundance. I want this love to come into my life. It is worth the risk, and it is worth it. It is better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. And that is a fact. And that doesn't just mean romance. That means everything. I look back, I've lost friendships. I've walked away from family members and stuff. I've lost relationships. But obviously those relationships were toxic, and that's fair enough. But I don't regret any of them. Because no matter whether they were toxic or healthy relationships, friendships say, because my relationships weren't healthy, but they all taught me something. They all, like, especially with the friendships, they helped me to grow. They helped me to become a better person at that stage of my life. I will never regret anything that I experienced back then, even though the pain of losing those was really hard. I still would do it all over again and feel that pain again, just to feel that abundance, that love, that high vibrational energy with those people. So it is better to let somebody in or let abundance in, and whatever. If you lose it, you lose it. You still get those moments of joy, those moments to create memories, those moments of bliss. So having a heart open, your heart open, is blissful. It is beautiful, you know, and every time we reopen, we get stronger from the pain we've gone through. We get more resilient. We know that we can go through anything. And yeah, okay, when you're in the depths of that awakening or the dark night of the soul, it's hard to see that. But when you come out, you're like, I don't want to go back in. I don't want to go back into that box. I don't want to feel closed-hearted. I don't want to feel lonely. You know, so it is worth it to open your heart. It is worth it to allow that love in. And things do get easier when you break down those walls. Things do get easier when you become vulnerable. Things get easier when you face your traumas and your demons. They do. And like, life gets more fulfilling and it flows easier when your heart is open. And it really is, because the secret to life is love. It really is. Like, when you live in love, life becomes easy. When you're not stressed, when you're not living in this hate and greed, when you're not living in fear, life is just, it's beautiful. It's rainbows all the time when you're living with unconditional love for yourself and for everything around you. So the more you open your heart, the easier life actually gets. But when we're in our little closed heart mentality, we are like, no, it's safer here. I don't want to get out. It's safer. But it's not. And I know all of this was for a higher reason. So if you're having any of the symptoms I just described, know that it's temporary, and know that it is bursting your heart open to be more receptive and more giving and more unconditionally loving for you and everything and everyone in this world. So I promise it is worth it. Even though I am a little bit still emotional, I am feeling better because of what I've gone through this week. I'm grateful for it. And I know that when I come fully out of it, I'm just going to be bursting with love again. And I know, and I want to open again. I do. So just be careful and nurture yourself, you know. And I love watching cartoons or Disney movies or any kind of, even rom-coms or something, just anything that will uplift you. Self-care, nurture, get out in nature if you can, but do a lot of pampering and just mind yourself. Guide yourself through it, nurture yourself through it, and know that it is temporary. This heartache is temporary, this heart awakening is temporary, and it is bursting you fully open so that you can let love into your life again. And that's it. It's making room for more beautiful, unconditionally loving opportunities and people to enter your life. So I promise, the hardship will stop and it will get easier. Your life will start flowing again when you live in love and open your heart. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share and subscribe to my channel so that I can reach as many people as possible. And if you would like help on your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I would love nothing more than to help you on your path. Thank you. Bye-bye.